Yay.
Hey.
Big Sean.
Be
What's
quiet.
Subscribe.
I know I have to be
Simply
quiet.
Bitcoin.
Yeah. Shh.
Big Sean.
Have we started yet?
Is it
All right.
live?
This is
Welcome,
fun.
everybody. Welcome in. This is another episode of the Meme Factory stream. This is stream test number 72. Anybody who's been watching for any amount of time knows that there will never be a real stream. These are all stream tests. That way we can't be canceled. This evening, we are joined by Luke Broyles. Luke, if you could give
I guess that's
the folks here the elevator's pitch of who the F you are. Let's get that knocked out of the way before we can get on with the show here.
okay. My name is Luke. I'm 23 years old. Full screen here. So I discovered Bitcoin in 2017. Like most people, I ignored it. 2019, I started paying attention again. Early 2020, I really started paying attention. 2021 is when I first bought, and early 2022 is when I fully understood the societal implications of it. And so early 2023, about a year later, is when I made my first Twitter thread online. It kind of blew up more or less, or at least blew up in the very small niche pond of Bitcoiners. And so a lot of people have asked me to come on their shows, and including you guys. So I'm happy to be here. And I got to be honest, I've never watched one of your shows before, but I've heard very good things, and I know Yellow, and I'm really excited for this. So it's going to be great.
Look, if you've never seen the
Hopefully.
show before, you're in good company with most of the rest of the world. Now,
Wait, hold on. We got millions of fans worldwide. I don't know what you're.
Yeah.
fans is one thing. Watching the show is another.
For fuck's sake, son, first of all, son, I told you many times, we are not in a porno. Like, can you lift the camera up or something? This is making me uncomfortable.
No.
Why? Why is it making you uncomfortable?
It's like I'll see you use it.
I mean, you're short anyway. So, I mean, that
God
would be,
damn
that
it.
would
Stop.
be your
I'm
perspective.
a puppet.
Looking at
You
Sean.
can-
I'm normal height.
You're for a puppet.
Yeah, you're for the lap. So
Anyway.
All right, we're alienating the guest here. Luke, one of the things we discussed briefly before you came on the Zoom call here is that one of our sponsors, Suscorp, requires that the guests read the ad copy for us. They don't like us for some reason, but it's in your DMs. If you could check it and just rip on through it so we can continue with the show and get paid, that would be fantastic.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. This is Luke Broyles, and this episode of the Meme Factory TM podcast is brought to you by Suscorp's newest product, the Hopium Nebulizer. The Hopium Nebulizer is the ultimate solution for bear market woes. Whether you're suffering from a sell-off, misplaced hardware wallet, or the latest FUD from mainstream media, this powerful device delivers fast and effective relief right where it hurts. Your ham flour. Okay. The problem with so many Hopium dispensers is that they cover the mouth and nose, which makes conversation and comprehension difficult. Our easy-to-use interface makes it simple for anyone to operate. Just insert the Hopium hose from the nebulizer about 6 inches into the prison purse, and you can get the relief at the touch of a button. With its compact and portable design, you can take it with you wherever you go, ensure you never have to suffer through the butt hurt of another rug pull. Plus, it's discreet. I've got mine in right now. Don't let the bear market woes control your life. Try your nebulizer today and speculate harder tomorrow. There you go.
Hey.
Thank you so much.
thank you.
All right. Do I get paid for that?
You don't.
Not a profitable week.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Making things and stuff for all you people.
Must be funny.
All right. So, how does it feel to be finally on a podcast?
First, let's say thank you to
Son
our
of a
real
bitch.
sponsor, Coinbase. Coinbase. Greg.
DCA
Thank you,
is
Coinbase.
the way.
Did you say Coinbase?
Coinbase.
Bits,
Oh my
bits.
goodness.
Oh, Coinbits. Okay.
All right, Luke. So if you had a favorite three-letter agency for which you absolutely didn't work, which three-letter agency would it be and why?
If I had to work for a 3-letter agency?
No. Which three-letter agency is your best? And we know you absolutely don't work for any of them. You are not a Fed.
Yes.
Clearly not a Fed.
Yes, I'm not
You
a
didn't
spook.
appear out of nowhere. You're not getting boosted.
Yeah.
Which would be your favorite of the threes?
Oh goodness. I don't know.
Just like a spook.
Yeah,
Just
no
like-
answer.
Oh no.
Okay,
The more I
say
hesitate,
Fed.
the worse it looks.
Hmm.
No.
I think Fed are more likable.
What are my options? Okay, Fed. That's not a good one. CIA. I don't know. I don't know. NSA,
NSA?
FBI. What are the others?
DEA.
EEA, EPA,
Isn't there like a guns? Isn't there like a gun one?
DOJ,
NRA,
ECB.
What is it?
DCA.
NRS.
Yeah, what is
Oh,
ATF
oh yeah,
stand?
DCA.
DOJ?
Yeah, DCA. That's the
DCA. That's a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
one.
DCA.
How
That's my
about
favorite one.
American
NGU?
postman?
And don't
Postman,
forget
like
that you
mailman.
can DCA with Coinbits.
Yes, DCA with Coinbits with your nebulizer. It's actually funny. It's funny reading that because I used to have a nebulizer. So it's yeah, I've come full circle here.
We do our homework in the meme factory, Luke.
Yes, you do your
Sweet.
homework. My asthma is now transformed into smash buying Bitcoin. So
All right, so you caught my attention recently when you described your framework for
What about the Sammys?
oh geez, yeah, God, I'm just all over the place tonight. Becca, Jesus Christ, get your sandwich order out of the way.
Okay, Luke.
yes.
We do something special here. You get to experience Becca's Sammy shop. So I have 3 sandwiches here for you. Let the camera just
Oh, boy.
focus in. So you can pick one of the 3. We have a Rising Star Breakfast Sammy, locally sourced bacon and eggs, blessed by Pastor Preston. And this includes 21 podcast appearances. So it might be beneficial for you and your Rising Star. Our second special
Oh, no.
tonight, we have the cheesy Silvergate melt. This is a contagiously cheesy mix of financial tricks and some good old American fraud, topped with, get this, salted Winklevoss tears. I
Get
was able
this.
to collect those this morning, so they're fresh.
They're
And
fresh.
tonight we have a coin or a BTC pin special, Yellow's Don't Stop Believing Steak Sammy. It's been marinated in Red Bull for 488 days. So these are your
What was that noise?
3 specials you have. And Yellow, he's always like up to no good. So
Yeah, well, I mean, the first one, the Rising Star, I think that's automatically out because
right.
my star is rising is not particularly a good thing to say. Although
Why is
Preston's
that?
pretty convincing. Oh, I think you know why.
That was my last Instagram caption is my stars rising.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know which sandwich is the most rare. Which one's the most scarce?
I would say a Rising Star is the most
Oh
scarce.
no. Okay, I guess I have to go with that regardless of my opinion. So yeah, let's do that. I'll do a Rising
Beautiful.
Star breakfast with Pastor Preston. Okay.
Beautiful. Coming right up.
Yep.
Well done, well done.
Good. I'm
All
hungry.
right, am I forgetting anything else before I before it here?
No.
I'm
you're
a
good.
mess. That's it. Yeah, it's happening. So, you laid out a framework that I found very interesting.
Okay.
Big fan of the book Layered Money, and you talked about different layers in the natural world. So, like a natural layer, an energy layer, an information layer, a monetary layer. Could you break that down Barney style for the people who are watching? We're not all that bright, but we can follow along if you use small words and hand gestures.
Yeah, so I I mean, I've explained this to the shows, but I think the basic way to put it is that basically we're trending towards more hyperabundance, and we're trending towards a more globalized society. And as we progress to that, and as we have been progressing to that for centuries and thousands of years, we inevitably have to have global systems. The first and most basic of those global systems is a global grid of energy that can convert all the many different kinds of energy from the natural world into a consistent form of energy. And that's the electric grid. No matter where we're getting energy from, coal or solar or nuclear or natural gas or burning wood, we can convert all of it into electricity. And on top of that, secondly, we have to have an informational layer. And the global system for doing that we've decided upon is the global computational computer network, like the computer I'm using now. We've decided to use binary, ones and zeros for our system. The internet was third. There were many attempts to make the internet and many original internets, but the decentralized one and the one outside the control of any singular entity was the one that won. The one that won. And then the system after that, the nodal system, is you need a system of value that using the energy that can be converted from the natural world and communicating it over space and time via the internet, information. That's what money is. It's energy, it's information, and it's energy and information that be communicated. The layer on top of all that is monetary, and I would argue that's Bitcoin. Hopefully, everyone in here agrees that that's a strong possibility at the very least. But yeah, that's the basic idea of having different levels of the system.
Okay. And
Yep.
the new layer,
Yeah.
the one that we're all here talking about discussing, is what, the information and value layer, correct?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, sure. Or did you
Yes.
say yes, sir?
Yes, sure. Agree. Yeah.
All right. And we all think that's going to be, internet, Bitcoin, the information value layer. How do you get value that exists on today's monetary layer to transition to an information age or an information layer?
Yeah. I was thinking about this earlier because, you guys in the meme factory, you deal in memes, and I don't know, that's something I was thinking about because the Bitcoin community loves memes. We love memes. And we love memes so much that there's a whole show based on memes. And I think there's really something to that. It's been said before, but perhaps not by me, but basically the idea being that Bitcoin is sort of a meme. And I would argue that all forms of money are basically memes because a meme is basically just a piece of information that gets passed around between humans. And the most successful meme is the one that has the most iterations of itself, the one that is most commonly recognized among all the people. It doesn't matter if it's a picture or it's a video or it's a funny story, or perhaps it's, those are more modern examples, but going back in time, perhaps it's a certain fable or tale or myth or legend of, um, you know, some sort of ancient society. Those basically are memes to a certain degree. And I think money is a form of meme, and perhaps it's the most important meme. It's the most successful meme of all because it is the meme that everyone, regardless of their ethnicity, their political origin, or their view in the world, everyone needs money to exchange value with one another. And so, no matter where you are in history, there is the most successful meme of its time is money, and the most successful money of that time is the most successful meme of that time. And so, you have salt and grain as a successful meme, more or less, or the idea of counting barrels and bushels of salt and grain was very popular in the ancient world. And then you have that condensing down to a harder money, a more immutable money, and a money that is better. It's a better form. It's like, well, it's like memes. How memes are funny. It's like the funniest meme wins. It's in a similar idea. It's like the hardest money wins. The best money wins. The money that's the most immutable, the most outside human control, and the most reliable and dependable in its monetary schedule over time. That's the funniest meme. And so gold was funnier. It was a more successful meme than its predecessor, and so it survived and thrived. And then after gold, now we have political energy, treasuries, and fiat currency, and obviously it's significantly worse over time. But
Luke, I want to
yeah, sure,
back up a little bit and challenge you on some of that. So,
sure,
I think just about anybody in here is going to agree that memes are just information,
yeah,
and whether you watermark it or not,
I disagree.
information wants to be free,
mm-hmm.
and that's been a capping point of this information layer is that all of it wants to be free anyway. So
Yeah,
going back to the question, then how can you take something that's in the information layer and then ascribe value to it, right? How does the value
yeah,
flow into the information layer? Like I get that money, the idea of money is a
yeah,
meme, right? So like you see a
yeah,
picture of gold coins in somebody's hands, you recognize, any human on earth today is going to recognize that represents money. Um,
yeah,
that's
mhm,
fine. That meme people get, but then you also got to produce the gold in order to
yeah,
transact
yeah.
value.
Well, yeah. That's kind of my point. That I think the meme or the monetary idea that survives, I think how we ascribe value to that is based on the number of people that recognize it. That's kind of my point there. That each successive iteration of money, if it becomes more recognizable in the eyes of people that use money and the global share of people that use money, if it becomes more recognized and they have higher conviction in it than say the other one, I think that is the more valuable
See, I
form of
think
money.
I think you just used a word that I totally agree. You said use. Like there's another level to the virality and the success that the meme presents at
Yeah,
first. After that, it has to be used, right? That's
yeah,
where the true success comes. Like at first, it's gonna be okay. Virality, everybody knows it, everybody understands it, like a meme, like an idea. Call it what you want, but in the second level, as gold did after thousands and thousands of years, it got used in the end, right?
yeah, yep. I think it's
right.
not just recognizing it's a better one. I think it's also having conviction in it. So it's not just the number of users, it's also the conviction and the amount of use that the users have with it.
Even
It's
even if they don't know it, even if they don't know it,
I don't know, guys.
they
Yeah,
use it. We don't
it's
care.
interesting because
I'm not
uh,
buying it.
here's what I think. Here's what I think, right? I think in the information level, it also has to be scarce. And I think that's what
yes.
Bitcoin has provided is scarcity at the information level.
Yeah. Yeah, its superior ability to have verifiable scarcity is what makes it a better idea than other forms of money. I would say gold is a better idea than cash over time because it's much harder to mine more gold than it is to add another zero to a spending bill. But I think Bitcoin's a better meme and a better idea because of what you just said, that it's more scarce. So, and I think the world will wake up to that. I think the world is slowly waking up to that, as we all know. So,
When do you think that's gonna come? Like when are we gonna transition from Bitcoin being a meme, like a good idea, to Bitcoin being like an archetype, like the kind of idea that we don't even think and we use it because it's so useful.
I don't know. I think it depends on your definition. I mean, I think right now there's, if we think of this as an idea of a fixed ledger, I mean, all like theoretically it existed all the way back to 1900 with Tesla, back in 1900, 1910s, 1920s. Maybe there were a couple dozen people that wanted to create what today we call Bitcoin. Um, Henry Ford was one of those folks that tried to make it all the way back in the 20s. Obviously, he failed because
Yeah,
we didn't
yeah.
have the information layer. But I mean, today there's what 3 to 5 million hardcore Bitcoiners, maybe less, maybe more. I don't know. But I mean, I think it's already happening. I mean, if you're asking when are there going to be 5 billion, I don't know, couple decades, or
Well,
I certainly think our lifetime. But
You say you don't know, but little birdie told us that you had a conversation recently
With a whale.
with a whale
So
who
yeah,
thinks that hyper Bitcoinization is coming a lot faster than most think.
Yeah,
yeah.
great new camera, Becca. Yeah, great new camera.
Oh my God, it died on me.
Much better.
Well,
Wow. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, actually, I was just talking to him earlier today too. Yeah, I don't know if he's a whale or not. So I don't know. I don't think I called him a whale. If I did, that's probably not accurate. But I don't think I did. But he was just really bullish. He had viewpoints I'd not heard of ever before. Basically the same idea that Bitcoin is monetary singularity, takes over everything. But um, he was just much more bullish on his time frame, and um,
If his
you
name
know,
were a rhyme, what would that rhyme be?
Yeah. Preston
oh
Fish.
boy, no,
Feikle
no, no.
Snailer.
No, nobody like that. I'd love to get Michael Saylor uncensored. That'd be fascinating. Hear what he really thinks.
Of
Um,
Malacas.
It
but
is fascinating.
yeah, I think he's pretty uncensored anyway, with how he is.
No, he's
But
not.
You
no,
haven't
he's
heard him
not.
talk about
No,
memes yet, uncensored.
No,
no, he's hiding a lot more.
All right, so you said
I know he
this
is.
person,
Yeah, sure.
who shall remain unnamed, Jeff Booth,
Yeah.
Batman.
is told you some things that you hadn't thought of before. Now I'm very interested in A, this person's name,
Nick Bhatia.
Nick Badia, and B, number two, what are the
B
points?
number two? Did you say B number two?
I say what I want to say when I want to say it, sir.
Yeah, yeah, I don't know. He's going on shows later to talk about it. He knows much more of this than I do. Basically, he has like an accounting and banking background, and so his thought is, what if
Oh,
Bitcoin is not? Yeah, his thought is,
Plan
what if?
B.
No, no,
Plan B.
no,
Fier Schmosnard.
no.
Who?
But yeah, basically his idea is, what if Bitcoin's adjustable markets are not just store
Okay,
value instruments and instruments and currencies, but what if it's much more than that? And a lot with the derivatives market, which frankly is a market I don't understand that well, and previously I'd not consider it because most derivatives just net out. But he thinks, for a variety of accounting rules and regulations, that Bitcoin has a significantly larger adjustable market after it attacks gold and real estate and bonds and stocks. Then he thinks it's theoretically even more, which, I mean, that's not even the most bullish thing. It's just,
Look, you
I
already
mean, to me,
you pitched a hopium throwing device earlier this evening. So hit us. Why is it so bullish? What kind of
hopium.
numbers are we talking about? How
Oh,
are we achieving these?
I mean,
man, what kind of numbers?
you know what numbers? Um, yeah, no, I mean, it's all the same idea that theoretically Bitcoin's exchange rate with every political currency just surpasses infinity, well, or reaches infinity, or approaches infinity forever is probably the best way to put it. I mean, if 1% or 2% or 3% of nations allocated, that's millions of dollars per Bitcoin. If you assume any rate of inflation, that's tens of millions of dollars per Bitcoin. If you assume that they allocate more, like 10%, 20%, 30%, then that's hundreds of millions, billions of dollars per Bitcoin. And add inflation on top of that, and then you have future prosperity. And it's just, really, it's more or less an oxymoron to try to price Bitcoin in terms of cash. I think it makes much more sense to try to price Bitcoin in terms of prosperity, or perhaps in terms of years of prosperity.
Okay. So how many?
Like how many years can I live
Yeah. How
on
many
my stack of
prosperity
Bitcoin?
units per Bitcoin are you thinking?
Well, I just think continues up theoretically forever. I mean,
All the prosperity units.
yeah, it depends what you're asking. Like, I think as long as humanity survives, and as long as we don't discover something significantly better than Bitcoin, I think the amount of prosperity Bitcoin could buy will just increase in a volatile fashion forever. And it will only get more volatile. A lot of people think that it'll get less volatile, but I actually think it's getting less volatile before it gets significantly more volatile. Number one, because inflation will have to get more volatile. Number two, because other asset classes, as inflation gets more volatile and interest rates get more volatile, will have to get more volatile. And number three, because technology is an exponential curve. And even before we consider inflation and all other asset classes, if technology's rate of change gets faster and faster and faster, the progress will continue to just spike upwards, aka volatile, theoretically forever, as long as we can continue to innovate. So as long as innovation continues and as long as humanity continues, I think the amount of prosperity any amount of Bitcoin, whether it's a whole Bitcoin or one sat could buy, would just go up. And I think that in the same way that, at the early 19th century, where you have both the existence of the locomotive and yet everyone, or at least the vast majority of people, still use horses as a preferred medium of transportation, I think we're kind of like a similar weird period where Bitcoin exists and yet fiat currencies still have a major role in the world. I think history will look back on these 2 or 3 decades here between 2009 and say 2030, 2040, 2050 as like a really weird period in history where two contradictory ideas existed.
It's the transition.
It's
Yeah,
the
more or less.
The great transition.
Was the whale Frank Underwood? Maybe.
Sure, it was Frank Underwood. Yeah.
Who was that?
Sean, did you say you're transitioning?
Mhm. This is the great transition.
Oh my.
So you brought up,
I've been thinking of something.
Sean,
You're thinking aloud.
If it's 21 million over infinity or over everything,
Infinity over 21 million. Yeah.
sorry, and infinity over 21 million. I keep saying that wrong. Isn't that the same as infinity over 1?
Yeah. The number is irrelevant. It just has to be finite.
It's
Deep
infinity.
Thoughts with Sean Harris.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, no, you're not wrong.
1 will be equal to 21 million.
No.
Well, no.
the point is that anything into infinity, as long as it's let's call it an integer, it's going to be the same result.
No, yeah. Basically, yeah. I mean, technically, technically, there's multiple problems with the infinity over 20 million. Technically, it shouldn't be infinity because we're approaching infinity, and technically, it's not 21 million because it's what 20,999,999.98 bitcoins. So I mean,
Just elaborate when you need them.
yeah,
Yeah.
the numbers are relevant. It just has to be fixed and finite and not be able to change. So yeah.
It makes me think that like Bitcoin as a money will be an integer. We'll approach the perfect money, and then we won't need money. I don't know. It's a weird thought.
Yeah, unless it turns into like digital gold, right? I mean, gold is better money than fiat money, and yet only like we got like just a couple of gold bugs using it, and people still, get caught up in the whole government scam and use fiat money. And gold never really made it into sound money. So why would Bitcoin? Why will Bitcoin?
Because
Maybe it's just for the select few that get it. Maybe the masses just won't get it.
maybe.
Shout out to Sheja.
That's an interesting thought. That's interesting. What if, my assumption is that eventually everyone will adopt Bitcoin, but what if there are people that voluntarily by choice never want to adopt just because, I don't know, that's interesting.
Self custody is to me that's the Bitcoin standard where
Yeah,
everyone
sure. I
self-custody.
agree with that. I mean, I guess I'm more just, I don't know the name of the person with the child with the giant earphone. Plan Marcus. Okay. But Plan Marcus is. Well, I
You
don't
can
know
say
if that's
Marcus.
interesting.
Yeah, you can just call him
Marcus. Okay, Marcus.
Yeah.
That's an interesting thought. What if some people never adopt because, like for example, Amish people, they never adopted computers or the internet or the electric grid. I wonder if.
But they use batteries and cell phones.
Yeah, I know, and
Greg's from
Have
Pennsylvania.
TV
He knows.
shows.
He knows the Amish.
I'm aware of that, but basically, I wonder if there will be groups of people in the future whether they're religious or political groups is kind of irrelevant, I think.
The
But
monetary Luddites.
maybe, like maybe that's possible. That someday there's a small group of people that never adopt Bitcoin. They just always prefer an endlessly decreasing gold or cash. But I mean, I don't know. I think
No.
I think that's very,
They'd be
very
like they'd be
minuscule.
like people that are like lost in the Amazon who just don't use money at all.
Well, yeah, yeah.
Right.
Those people exist. That they're, perhaps, obviously, those people may not ever use Bitcoin, but perhaps they're people that intentionally, more or less, go backwards in time voluntarily because they don't like Bitcoin for whatever reason. Maybe that happens. I don't know.
I don't
I've
like
never thought
playing the
about that
bear,
before.
right?
That's interesting.
I mean,
It's just that we're all like very agreeable here about it's gonna, take over the world, and we're all gonna see it that way.
Yeah.
So I like to push back a little bit. But I mean, I can think of a scenario, right, where like, all right, we've got all these powerful, power always accrues, right? With power comes money. So for some reason, it'll, like the bitcoins will find its way into like smaller pockets of people, possibly, right? Whether it's governments figure out a way how to, tax people, and they start collecting all the bitcoins in Fort Knox or a new digital Fort Knox, whatever. And we might end up in 50 years on the same situation where they say, well, we've got this big reserve of Bitcoin, and just to keep it safe, we're going to create like this digital token on top of it. And here we are again. Now it's like fiat backed by Bitcoin again, and they go
Yeah.
off and print too much again.
Yeah. Yeah, perhaps everyone adopts Bitcoin, but that human emotion wants to create that second layer on top of it, and we end back in the same spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's possible.
And we're ignoring all the other coins in existence. Will Doge be still around?
shut up, Marcus.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think it's possible. I think the way I would put it is that I don't think it's the most probable scenario, and I think the only alternate to Bitcoin is that anyway. So if we have a 100% chance of repeating this fiat Ponzi in 80 years or 50 years, say, without Bitcoin, and maybe a 20%, 10%, 5%, 50%, whatever percent, assign it with Bitcoin, I still think Bitcoin is the more worthwhile path. But yeah, perhaps.
You guys are just—I don't know if you're fucking with me or not, but you're all not mentioning the reason gold failed as money because it was easily confiscatable, right? It's centralized
Yeah,
and it gets
yeah,
confiscated,
definitely.
and that's why
Which Bitcoin
fiat
fixes.
won as a medium for transaction, right? So
Yeah.
like,
Well,
if
portability. I
your
mentioned portability
your
earlier.
portability,
Yeah, portability too.
but like that's it. Back to Sean and self custody, right? You can self custody Bitcoin, and there's not as much chance for centralization and capture. Right? It's way more difficult for that to happen, and it's already got its own layer two built on. It's got
Yep.
two of them. You got liquid and
I
lightning.
mean, they
Liquid
tried
and
to
lightning.
confiscate booze. They try to confiscate drugs. You can't do that, right? Like,
The
Well,
nickel.
I mean,
Go ahead.
well, I was gonna say, like, look at, like, literally today, it's very timely. What the United States is doing is they're selling off the Bitcoin they've confiscated from Mount
Yeah,
Gox,
true.
right?
Do we
They're
know that
selling
for
it off.
sure?
I
you got pushed.
Yeah, they are.
I mean, it just happened today. I believe so. Perhaps it's fake news, but I'm pretty sure it's the case. That
No, even from the older days, like Draper got like confiscated Bitcoin.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
Silicon Valley.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
That's
they.
that's a known practice. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like, even if they confiscate it, the only way to um, get things from people is to exchange the Bitcoin for it. So I mean, even if they were able to confiscate, I don't see a way they could retain that power long term. They would just be forced to sell it back, perhaps at a higher price. But I don't think it's possible for them to just continue gaining via confiscation.
Yeah, but isn't government like a slow turning ship? Like, don't you think that has to do with bureaucracy? More like they don't have already the infrastructure.
What he's saying, because it's hard to understand, is government's like a slow turning ship, and
Yeah.
You malaka, Greg.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Nick and Griff show asks, how do you think Bitcoin will impact large scale commercial real estate?
Yeah, it's an interesting question. Large scale commercial real estate. Well, I don't know. I guess my view, which is just my view, but I think real estate is probably at a lower risk than bonds or stocks. And my reason for that is that for people's retirement portfolios, both in the US and abroad, um, that stocks and bonds have been much more monetized than real estate. Like if bonds are 95, 98, 99% monetized and stocks are 60% monetized, real estate seems to be like 30, 40, 50%, something like that monetized. Obviously depending on your area. That's the thing with real estate. It's all completely dependent on location. I'm sure there are properties that are 90% monetized and properties that are 0%.
And Luke,
But
when you say monetized, you're talking about a monetary premium attached to
yeah,
this.
yeah. Like a monetary premium, like a bond is entirely hot air, and that it's all just a promise. But real estate, you have
Store
the
value.
land's value, the building's value, and then the premium we give it from issuing all these mortgages and all this cheap money. So yeah, definitely real estate's overvalued. The other thing too, though, is that comparing American real estate to the rest of the world, like comparing the US to Canada or Australia or parts of Europe, it's like crazy. Like you think American real estate is expensive. It's absurd. And so when I just think of those two things, that number one, I think fundamentally real estate is less monetized than those other assets. And number two, that it seems that American stocks and bonds are monetized much more than foreign stocks and bonds. And likewise, perhaps foreign real estate is monetized much more than American real estate. I think for the I think so. Anyway, the original question being, what do I think about multifamily real estate? I think there's risk to it. I think there's lower risk to it than many other assets. I do think it will trend down against Bitcoin. But then the other thing we have to keep in mind too is financing. That's the other thing with real estate people completely forget about is financing. If you can a fixed rate debt, get fixed rate debt against that real estate, which you can't do with bonds or stocks or leases easily, like that's a pretty big deal because the mortgage, as long as it's fixed and as long as it's native in um, fiat, the value of that mortgage in relation to property should theoretically go down forever. So even if the real estate goes down against Bitcoin forever, the mortgage go down against the real estate probably faster than the real estate would down against Bitcoin, or maybe as fast, or I don't know. That's more or less a speculation, but um, anyway, that's just some musings I have. I think I don't think it's. I think it all depends on frame of reference and the math and where you're coming from.
I have a totally different question right here. Did you say you were 23?
Yeah, correct.
So are you in college still, or did you just finish college?
Is Sean gonna ask?
No, I'm not gonna ask that.
Oh, no, I've not finished college. No, I've not finished college.
Are you in college,
Most
or did you just like say, hey, you know what, that's kind of not worth my time?
Yeah, I'm currently taking classes online, which has been quite a lot between that plus work plus now this Bitcoin personality thing online. But I'm doing it. I'm surviving. Um,
What
if
do you what are you studying?
Well, just general finance and real estate, just because that's the closest thing to this. There's no Bitcoin major, but frankly, I'm finding less and less of incentive to finish.
Yeah.
Because my time's just getting so busy. And it's like, even with scholarships and even with help from family financially, it just doesn't make sense. So anyway, I don't know what all that holds, but right now I'm just putting all my time and attention as much as I can into preparing for the next having
We're
in the
all
next few
pretty
years. So
we're all pretty old, right? So it's been a while since we've seen a college. Like if you look around in like your, I don't know if you still go to actual
mm,
physical class. You said you were doing
no, I
online
don't.
classes.
I don't.
All
I
right.
can't stand it. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That
I,
just
I was just curious, like what percentage of that like college class do you think would are like what is their stance towards Bitcoin? Do they hate it? Do they think it's bad for the environment? Are they
yeah,
interested in it? Like, is it this generational thing that
yeah.
once
I've
you
talked to a
guys
lot
reach the
of.
age of 40, go
Uh-huh.
ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've talked to a lot
Age
of
of 40.
finance
Come on.
and tech professors, both at the colleges I've taken classes from, as well as many other colleges, both online and virtually. And yeah, I think the vast majority don't understand Bitcoin. I think the vast majority of people and parents especially, I don't think they realize how little is being taught in classes. And like that's why I don't go to in-person class anymore, just because it's like it was like a drain. I felt like it was a drain on my brain. At least with the
Yeah.
online classes, I'm learning a little bit and I can do it in my own time.
Yeah.
And if I want to take a quiz without studying, because I know I don't have to study, then I can just do that, you know. So anyway, all I say, I don't think people realize how low the bar is for college, and it's really alarming. Um, I know so many people that have 5 figures or 6 figures of college debt, and
Yeah.
with no disrespect to that, they have very little skills. They have no prospects. They have no assets. They have no marketable edge. And as that curve of technology I always talk about gets steeper, the unique marketable abilities that humans will add to the marketplace will only get more difficult. I don't know if it'll ever get impossible, but it'll only get more difficult because the amount of stuff you need to learn will increase and the rate at which you'll need to learn it will increase. And the amount of artificial intelligence algorithms, bots, whatever you want to say, that can do what you do as good as you do, or even just half as good as you do, will only increase exponentially. So anyway, I think all these things are related. I think the lack of college professors understanding Bitcoin and the hyperabundance of scholarships and grants and stimulus to help college students. It's all related, and this is why it's like the rabbit hole because you realize like, oh wait, this is all one problem or one trend that's happening, and Bitcoin is the other side of that trade.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm 33, right? So I'm 10 years older than you.
Huh.
And like when I was growing up, it was like,
Math major.
you yeah, it was like go to college, get a degree, right? But I also played basketball, so like that made more sense for me because I got a scholarship to play basketball and then now I'm playing overseas. But like if I could go back and if I wasn't playing basketball, I don't know if I would even go to college, like thinking
Yeah,
about like the future of like sometimes I think, what's the point? It seems like a big
yeah,
scam. It may not even be worth it, and there's a lot of different things, especially when you go down the rabbit holes of Bitcoin. And there's a lot of different things that you can explore, and you don't need to have a college education to be able to build and to
yeah,
work
yeah,
and to grow a business nowadays.
yeah.
I think it's still a good idea to educate yourself, to be honest, and to
Oh,
actually
definitely.
like learn something and get a skill in a field you're interested in. But I think a lot of the information is free, or even better, that you can find it online. And if you're willing to put it work in, I guess the big benefit of college or university is that you have somebody who curates all that information for you, so you don't have to like look for what is bullshit. You kind of trust on your professor to put a good program together for you, so it's just bite size, ready to go. But I mean, in general, why do you have to like rack up a debt of like $1 million?
Yeah.
That seems insane. But
Well,
you know,
that's an excellent point about how the college class curated for you, so that if there's all this noise plus single, and 95% of it is noise, the college class is supposed to just give you the signal, the stuff that matters.
exactly,
But
that's
but
kind of
what
like the
happens?
value add from their side, right? It's like if
Yeah,
I
yeah,
learn
that's the
I
value
have to
add that
learn
we
about
can save you
Bitcoin and
time.
I go to YouTube and I Google it, you're gonna like be bombarded with a wall of trash, basically. All these influencers and people trying to sell you something,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you kind of have to work your way through it and find out what's the signal with information.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean that's what it's supposed to be. But what happens when the incentives are corrupted and the noise starts to get added back into the college? Well, now it takes time to learn via for free for internet and library and books, and it takes time to learn via college, and both of them have signal, both of them have noise, except one of them costs you money. I mean, all of a sudden the marketable edge of college goes down. It seems to me. So yeah,
When I was 23, I was not thinking about money at all. I was thinking about basketball and girls. So that's kind of, I don't know how you're like, what's in your background that makes you so focused on, on Bitcoin at this age?
I always found history interesting. I mean, even when I was like 10 or 8 or 9, or even when I was in elementary school. I loved history, found it fascinating, as well as science and technology. Basically, is science and history. To understand history and science, you have to understand technology. So, I mean, anyway, it was just general curiosity for the world, especially 2015 to 2020, that really blossomed. I found, Elon Musk interesting, and I found all the technology interesting, and everything he was doing. And I remember how the technology of my life changed so dramatically, and how, well, I have a smartphone now, and I can do all these things on it. And anyway, I just had a general interest in that. And then, one of the things I realized too is that monetary events are greatly underappreciated in history, and that we tend to appreciate war and disease and conflict, things that are easy to date and take pictures of and reference in a history book. But monetary events people tend to underappreciate, and so kind of the merging of those, plus then the external environmental factor of the pandemic and the lockdowns, those things together in 2020 kind of forced me to realize something's going on here.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I didn't appreciate any of that.
Yeah, but I guess just a general curiosity. I
Stop
mean,
it.
to be
Greg is a hold on, Luke. Greg is a freaking genius, and he tries to play a dummy. Just so you can know.
okay, sure, I'll buy that.
That's true.
Very true.
Thanks, son.
He's doing a good job. He's doing a really good job right now.
He's doing a good job looking dumb. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Yeah. He
Okay.
especially chose those glasses.
Yeah, right.
I think it's a good point you made, though. I mean, people don't focus in on the monetary history.
Yeah. And I think
Yeah.
the same is going to happen here. I think the vast majority of people will not adopt Bitcoin because they understand what's happening. I think they just will. I think one day it will be legendary that a whole Bitcoin was under $1 million. I think it'll be legendary that I'm assuming all six of us have actually transacted on layer one. I think the idea of an individual human doing that will be legendary. I think,
Back to the
I
three-letter agency question.
oh
Yeah.
boy.
Nice try.
But
Where are
yeah,
you transacting on base layer?
yeah,
I'm transacting in cyberspace.
that's right.
No, it's
So
like a singularity, man. It's
yeah,
it's an event. You
Yeah.
Yeah.
can't see what comes past it, and it's hard to see when you've crossed the event horizon. So like,
yeah.
one of the things I wanted to ask you when you came on is what kind of things should we be looking for as we approach the event horizon, or have we already passed it?
Mm.
I mean, I think it depends on your perspective. I think different assets and different things will cross the metaphorical event horizon at a different point. Um, I mean, because if we think of it in relation, the singularity already exists, and it's
Right.
Bitcoin, and almost everything else is still outside the event horizon. That doesn't make its end state any less inevitable. But
Also,
I mean,
let me
I think,
let me reframe that. So like the
yeah,
singularity is like Bitcoin has created the monetary singularity. Let's
yeah,
call it. That's
sure,
not Bitcoin itself being the singularity in this particular metaphor. And once you
yeah,
What is
yeah.
the
pass,
singularity, Greg? What is a
Yeah, what are you,
singularity?
it's
I
a
don't
black
yeah,
know.
what
hole.
are you talking
It's a
about?
black hole.
A black hole.
Black hole.
Wow.
Yeah, the
So
singularity
we're
is
into theoretical physics right
We're
now.
still talking about Bitcoin.
no the basic
Becca, can
metaphor.
you explain it for me, please?
Yeah,
I'm lost.
the basic metaphor. Let's go with black holes first. So black holes are a closed system, essentially. Technically not, but they basically are, where energy flows in and it never leaves. And so the singularity is the point of infinite density, infinite mass, infinite, whatever. And the event horizon is the point, or the sphere around the singularity, at which when mass or energy cross it, or even light, it cannot leave. It inevitably falls into the gravity well that is the singularity. So the metaphor with Bitcoin being that Bitcoin is a closed system, and when monetary energy flows in, when there's an infinite amount of cash, infinite amount of gold, infinite amount of real estate, infinite amount of stocks, intelligence, education, entertainment, etc., that can flow into Bitcoin, that's the basic idea, that basically everything trends towards the end state of the most dense thing, and the most dense thing being singularity. So Greg's question being here, when do those things cross the event horizon to where
Well,
their approach of the black hole becomes inevitable and faster?
yeah. So if you imagine like a
So
nebula
you can't
swirling,
escape the gravity anymore.
The
if
point
you
of no
imagine like
return.
a nebula swirling around a black hole, right? That nebula
Yeah.
is the, let's call it the economy. It's every bit and piece that makes up the economy. And
Yeah, all value.
as that network, as that nebula interacts
Mm,
with the singularity,
mm,
pieces of it cross the event horizon and they go into the black hole. And as you
Yeah.
pass through the singularity, you're entering a new reality, essentially on the inside. Doesn't bear
Yeah.
any resemblance to anything on
Yeah,
the
yeah,
outside, and
sure.
you can't describe anything on the inside from the terms and stuff
Sure.
you have on the outside. So what I'm asking is, as the economy, the world economy approaches this event horizon, what kind of things will we see happening? What stuff breaks? What stuff gets better? And then, do you see what the world kind of looks like post singularity?
Well, I think the first thing, I mean, really, it's no different than history. In history, if you have a political system that's beginning to collapse, what happens? The smartest, the brightest, the richest, and the most educated people, along with the ones the most disenfranchised, are the ones that leave and go to the new political system. And that, I mean, we're already kind of seeing that now, and that the world's, I would say, a lot of the world's smartest, brightest, richest people, along with a lot of the most disenfranchised people in the world, have already crossed the event horizon. I've already crossed the event horizon. Like, I'm already into Bitcoin, and I'm only increasingly allocated to Bitcoin. It's probably everyone else in this virtual room, along with probably a lot of people watching this. They're these first people leaving. Your question being, what can we expect to see? I think this is the first thing you can expect to see. That over these last 10, 14 years or so, you see the innovators and the visionaries cross and never come back. Like, I'm never going back to bonds to have, I'm never, for me, there's no point. Now, looking forward, what does that look like? I think by the time it becomes clear to a significant percentage of people that a bank run is likely, I think everything's already past the event horizon. Because that's the thing. The black hole is a visible thing. The event horizon is not a visible thing. So I don't know if I can really answer when does that moment happen. I think by the time most people realize that the black hole exists, everything will have already crossed the event horizon. And that's why I think it's so important people get off zero, is because like we won't know when we've reached critical mass. And this is probably going to happen so fast that by the time the market is catching up, the reality will already be 5 years ahead or 10 years ahead. And it won't unfold over 5 or 10 years. It's like 10 years of development that'll unfold over the course of months or whatever. Um, I mean, basically, take the great financial crisis. What happened was years worth of bad, toxic debt was being unloaded faster and faster and faster in a cascade. That's how every bank run happens. It's like all these years of growing instability and problems are suddenly offloaded in a radically short period of time. And I think that's probably what we'll have here to some degree, is that right now the system is ballooning and ballooning. Right now we're contracting a little bit because we want to pretend like we're not going to keep ballooning forever, but then we'll just divert back to ballooning forever. And then at some unknown point, the United States and the world will cross a tipping point, aka the metaphorical event horizon. And I don't know if we'll know when that is. And my worry is that what if, I think it's a very small chance. I want to make that clear. But what if we've already passed it? Just today, Joe Biden came out and said he wants to propose a 30% tax on Bitcoin mining, electricity, or something. I haven't read it, but that's basically the proposal. And simultaneously, Russia wants and is setting up Bitcoin miners in Russia and Siberia. And so my I think it's a very low probability. I make that very clear. But there's a non-zero chance that over the next few months, Russia just starts printing their own currency into complete oblivion and tries to stack as much Bitcoin as it can, forces every other nation to divert their strategy. And over the course of the next 18, 24 months, we see the world dramatically shift. I mean, I don't think
I'm
that's
willing to
likely.
bet. I'm willing to bet against that. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah, I
yeah.
don't I don't think that happens either.
No, I don't think that happens for many, many years. I want to make that clear. but I mean,
But
we know that.
there's a chance.
He's saying
you know?
gradually
Yeah.
and then suddenly, Sean.
Yeah. I'm saying gradually and suddenly, and the problem is we don't know when suddenly is.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
But you're saying suddenly is going to be 18 to 24 months, and we're on a freaking Bitcoin standard.
that's not what I'm saying.
Because that's what I heard.
That's what
Not
Larry
18,
Lepard
24
told.
months from now. 18, 24 months from.
We don't know
No,
when
let's
it's
call it
going
the
to start.
cascade
but
happening.
I was
when
saying
it starts, it's that short.
I was saying there's a very
And
tiny,
go.
but
What
non-zero
were you
chance.
saying?
I was saying that I think, to my larger point being, that I think there's a very small chance.
Luke, Greg's
that-
just being a dick. All right, okay.
Okay.
So
All right.
sometimes you just gotta do a little fug when
Okay.
he's being a dick to you.
The point that matters is that I think that gradually and suddenly we'll have a tipping point, aka the event horizon, and we won't know when that is. I don't think we're at that point now, and I don't think we'll be at that point for many years. But I think that point will come, and I think still 90% of people will not be aware the black hole even exists until we've already passed it. So I mean, yeah.
Could you imagine like Bitcoin shoots up to 2 million by like 2026 and then it drops down to like 500,000 and
That'd be
then
crazy.
Paul Krugman's on the air like Bitcoin is dropping like crazy, you know.
Yeah.
It's like that's the type of stuff that could happen.
Or what if in the 2030s or whatever it goes to 100 million and then crashes down to 75 million or 50 million, and people say, "Oh, it's crashed 50%. That's ridiculous."
Not buying any of that.
Yeah. I'm so glad I didn't buy 85 million.
Mhm.
What a scam, But
We're literally there already, right?
Who can afford to buy a whole Bitcoin?
yeah. I mean, it's like people
when
hear me
Bitcoin
say
crossed
that.
$100, they were talking about,
Yeah.
actually, will it ever hit 10K? So
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
people like that's the funny thing. I say
right,
that.
Yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yellow was around at that time.
Wow, really? That's awesome.
Yeah, he's
Yellow
like
is
Back in
$60.
$100. Yeah, Yellow. Are you a massive whale? Are you?
He was memeing in
Called you
black and
fat,
white.
buddy.
I'm massive.
Shit.
Yeah, Yellow.
Stupid.
When did you discover? I don't know your story. I've just seen memes of you online. When did you discover Bitcoin?
Discover, like only Bitcoin. What is it, like
2010.
2019, 2018? But I'm in
That's
the
great.
space from 2013, mining Feathercoin and other stupid shit.
That's
Losing
great.
my money to Mount Gox.
Yeah, Mount. No way. Wow.
Yeah, so whatever like stupid thing, historic thing you have heard about around Bitcoin, I have done it. So, I'm not a whale. That answered your question.
No, that's still super cool. I mean, really, we're all whales, more or less. The farther
I'm
out
not a
time you go.
whale, and I didn't have the purchasing power to be a whale even back then. I
Speaking
was
of
extremely,
whales,
extremely broke.
who was the whale you were talking to? Who told you that hyper Bitcoinization was coming?
Yeah,
from?
was it Emperor Palpatine?
No, it was not. It was not Palpatine or Palpatine. No,
It was
I
someone
mean,
that
again,
has
I
to
don't
do
know.
with derivatives.
I don't know if he was. I don't know if he's a whale, and I've only read some of his thoughts, and we really talked a little bit. But a lot of it's with derivatives and stuff I don't fully understand. But it was very interesting because I've just
Methinks
that,
the
I, that's
lady doth protest, because
yeah.
if you didn't talk to him that much and didn't really read much of his stuff, how did you have a private conversation which elucidated a number of new things that you didn't think about Bitcoin and
I
changed
mean,
your time
when I
frame?
say not much, I mean we talked for probably 2-3 hours
Your best friends is
total.
just go ahead. You could say it.
I only met him a few weeks ago online digitally. He's not even in the U.S., so yeah.
We're
Peter
narrowing it
McCormack.
down. We're narrowing
Yeah,
it
now we're
down.
narrowing it down to only 7.5 billion or whatever.
Jack Dorsey.
I mean, yeah, no, like he says he wants to talk about more, and yeah, I don't even know if it's that big of a secret, but it's just that there's not a lot of people on Twitter that have come from the angle of derivatives yet. You have Greg Foss coming from the angle of bonds, or Michael Saylor from the CEO's perspective, or Jeff Booth from the technologist perspectives, but there's not really anyone on Twitter with I guess, accounting derivatives. Yeah,
It's
was just
interesting because I was actually thinking about derivatives this past week,
yeah,
and I posted a note to Noster about derivatives because I'm
Yeah.
like, well, what's the future? Like, do derivatives? What's the point
Yeah.
of derivatives?
yeah,
And if you're on a hard money standard, like, what's even the point of? I guess like a farmer who has corn in the field. I get derivatives for commodities,
Yeah.
Even
but
better, Luke,
financial derivatives make no sense to me.
who would we talk to if we wanted to learn more about derivatives?
yeah,
Who,
yeah,
who
that's
should we
the thing.
talk to?
Can you recommend
The
anyone?
Pope. The
Do you
Pope.
recommend
Yeah.
anybody?
No, that's the thing. I really don't know that many people either in my own personal life or on Twitter or in the
Maybe somebody
Bitcoin
you
space.
spoke to recently.
Oh,
You just
Yeah,
got it.
that's
All
funny.
right, look, we're at the part of the show where we've got to get to the really hard hitting questions. Since Artie's not here, I want to throw this to Becca.
Okay.
So pay attention.
Oh,
Okay.
yes. Shit. Let me get my notes quick.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
don't fuck it up.
Okay. Oh, it's a lot of pressure. Yes,
That's what she
Luke,
said.
thank you for coming on and spending time with us this evening.
It was quite fun. Yeah. This is very
Yes.
different than Preston's show. I will say that.
Oh, we will take that as a compliment. Thank
Better
you.
than
Much,
Preston.
Much
way
better.
more better.
Suck it, Preston.
Yeah, suck it, Preston.
So if the meme factory did exist and we all know it doesn't, who would you like? Who would you retweet? And who would you mute?
Can they all be the same person? Yeah, I don't know. I would probably like Marcus. I liked some of Marcus's ideas.
Mm.
I'd probably
Ooh.
retweet Yellow just because like all the stuff he has online is funny. Who would I mute? I don't know, myself.
No,
Wow.
I,
No.
Not
Meme
me
factory
factory
member.
I don't know, maybe
very
Greg.
honorable, but you cannot follow in
Maybe
yourself.
Greg. I might mute Greg so he doesn't have me read all those ad reads.
Motherfucker. All right. Sean, you're up.
Hey Luke, do you know what happens at block height 840,000?
What we start 840,001? I don't know.
He's not wrong.
No.
TikTok next block. Yeah.
TikTok next block. It would be the next halving is what happens at block height 840,000.
Yeah,
Every
yeah,
200
okay.
Every 210,000 blocks, there's a halving.
Yeah. Yep.
We're throwing a halving party in El Salvador 2024.
No way.
And,
Okay.
we want you to be there, man. Come down, enjoy it. It'll be
April
a 3-night event,
2024.
and
3 nights. Wow. Okay.
it'll be we're gonna have it first or second week of April 2024. So
Like a year from now.
yeah.
Around the
Okay.
end.
Do you have a passport?
Yeah, I was just in Guatemala actually 3 weeks ago. So I was just down in that neighborhood.
Oh, Bitcoin. Did you go to Bitcoin Lake?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Did you meet Carla and Blake down there?
No, I didn't meet them, unfortunately.
dang.
But I really want to go back there in a year or two anyway. So maybe I'll have to do both.
Yep, come to El
So
Salvador.
Yes.
It's gonna be a blast, man.
I
It's gonna be so
appreciate
much
the
fun.
invite.
Yeah, we're gonna have a lot of people down there. Sailor's gonna be there. He already said he was gonna be there. So
Now Luke
He
Sailor's
did.
gonna be there. Oh yeah. Preston's gonna be there. Sailor's gonna
Yeah.
be there.
Will
Yeah.
Satoshi be there?
Max and Stacy will be there.
Max and Stacy.
Max and Stacy will be
Booth
there.
will be there.
President, President
Did we
Bukele.
ask Adam back? Did we ask
Fox?
Adam back to come on?
I haven't asked him. No,
And we haven't talked
Not
to Adam
yet.
back.
not yet. Gotta ask him. All right,
Bukele is gonna be there. He just doesn't know yet.
Luke.
Yes.
You've been very generous with your time this evening. We're wrapping up the show.
Okay.
I'll leave this section to you to tell anybody still watching where they can find you and what you've been working on.
Yeah, well, they can find me on Twitter, Luke_Broyles, Bryles. That's where I am most of the time. I started a Noster for fun, posting a little bit there. I have a YouTube channel. You could just Google my name and find me pretty easily.
Not that easily. There's an actor trying to steal your name.
Oh yeah, I've heard that. There's a few other Luke Broyleses out there. So yeah, so YouTube. What else? Yeah, I have a couple other projects that are on the very, very back burner. Hopefully, those will be done by the halving. So I'll post about those when they finish up. We'll progress. And that's pretty much it. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Luke. I had a blast having you on. I don't know about the rest of these suckers.
Oh man, thanks, Luke. Good
Thanks,
time, man.
Luke.
Coming, man.
And yes, Voxel, this is live, but we're done now. You're late.
Yeah, you're late. No Sammys for you.
Thanks,
everybody.
thanks for coming, Luke.
Yep.
Bye.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Good night, everybody. Cheers.
Ciao.